the white race and the inferiority of the black race. This belief is unacceptable and must be abolished in the minds of all Africans. Our minds need re-education and de-westernization of the falsehood that everything from the West is better than what we have here. We have accepted to fetishize our culture and traditions and glorify foreign culture, which has broken the very spiritual backbone of the African continent, hence weakening our growth and development. For over 500 years now, we have accepted that blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall see the kingdom of heaven. And we have indeed become poor, spiritually and physically as well. As believers, we all are striving to attain spiritual growth, yet we contrarily accept to be poor in spirit. The result of this belief is what we see all around Africa: spiritual poverty that has transcended in our homes, families, and nations. And who says a believer of God must be poor? If you are rendered poor, how will people glorify the God you serve? If the Orientals, including the Chinese, pray to Hindu, the Indians pray to Buddha, the Japanese practice Shintoism, and the majority of the Western race are neither of these, how come and why have they prospered than us who claim to be worshipping the one supreme God, who permeates all things and who has power over all their gods? We who go on the supreme are poor and hungry. We must be missing something. We have literally preached and accepted not to worry about our lives, what we shall eat or what we shall drink, nor for our body what we shall wear. Then we accepted to raise our head and look at the birds of the sky, for they neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, yet our heavenly Father feeds them. We literally believe this, and yet we are hungry and poor. We never plan our lives, and here we are. As a continent, we have no better development plan, and as a country, no development plan has been put down, and even the ones that are written are abandoned and made to languish on ourselves. The black man thinks that what we provide for his needs and has therefore abandoned the power of his brain to create and liberate himself from poverty and destitution. Today, if you do not plan and think of what you eat and wear, I, Kwadwo Safo, tell you that you will sleep hungry and walk naked. As it is written and purported to have been said by the Savior, he remarked, the sons of the world are more astute and wiser in our generation than we, the so-called sons of the light, who are said to be believers and followers of Christ. Now, come to think of it. When the people of Israel went to Mizpah to seek from God whether they could go to war against their brothers of the tribe of Benjamin, who had defiled the wife of a Levite to them, as the book of Judges chapter 20 begins. God told the Israelites, go and defeat the Benjamins. Yet, when they went to the battle, the Israelites lost the battle. On the second time, God told them, go, and they still lost the battle. Why did they lose the battle? They refused to plan the war, thinking that they will win the battle no matter what, because God has asked them to go. Yet, they lost the first battle and the second attempt. Not until they planned the battle on how to defeat the Benjamins before they were able to win the battle. Prophecies and prayers don't win wars. Planning and adequate preparations win wars. So it is in our lives. Life is won by planning and preparation. No amount of prophecies from God can make a man better until he has laid down the blueprint of life in line with the prophecy before man can defeat poverty and hardship. It doesn't come by magic. lies the fundamental point of my mission on earth, the emancipation of the minds of the black man. This comes from believing in ourselves and accepting the very fact that we are of the image of God, and that in every black man is a special potential that has been carefully created by the Supreme One. This is the image of God in you, the Spirit. You all accept that God created you in His own image. Yet, you do not know that that image of God is the Spirit He has placed in you, a spirit of greater potential. Every believer has this on his lips. He that is in me is mightier than he that is in the world. Yet, we do not understand that what is in us is the only potential that we must harness to liberate ourselves from mental slavery and to build the future of our continent. You who claim that he that is in you is mightier than what is in the world is now living in a continent of absolute poverty and famine, amidst wars and instability. Again, you who claim that he that is in you is mightier than he that is in the world cannot think and use your brain to create and build your home, family, country, and nation. The one you look at upon us and unbelievers possesses, he is in the world, has used his brain to create and build his country and continent. I repeat, the one you believe does not have this power, has used his brain to create and build his country and continent. What a spiritual glory. Now, this is my mission. I am here to let you know and understand the power of the can-do spirit. I am here to let you understand that there is something special in you, a greater potential, the Holy Spirit, which, if you believe in yourself and utilize it very well, can lead you to do great wonders to emancipate yourselves and our continent at large. God never created us poor. We have only been made to believe that we have to literally hold our treasures in heaven while we abandon the power to use our minds to create and build our continent. Meanwhile, the one who brought us this teaching of building our treasures in heaven is building his country and continent. With our own resources, where we plan to spend our holidays and vacations. Why can't we understand that poverty is not a portion for the believer or the nation who widely worship God? Why has the African continent been ridiculed as a third world? Is it not because we cannot invent or build our own infrastructural growth? Is it not because famine and poverty lingers all across the corners of our streets? Is it not because we lack the technical know-how to build economic and military might? And why must this happen? You have been told that it is easier for the camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for the rich to go to heaven. Every black man is waiting unto heaven, a place where the poor enters easily than the rich. A place where the easiest way to get a visa is poverty. And for that matter, for over 500 years now, generations upon generations accepted to be poor in order to get easy access into the kingdom of heaven. What a myopia. But who will ever believe that the poor goes to heaven easily and the rich has difficulties to enter heaven? The poor, who will easily covet his brother's poverty, envy his brother, still because he lacks, will usually be angry over unnecessary things due to poverty, be full of hatred, jealousy, selfish ambitions, create factions, and may even result to drunkenness. All of these, being the act of the flesh, would rather find it easier to enter heaven than the rich who will hardly do this. Imagine the magnitude of delusion we have been made to believe in. Who will fulfill these fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. The poor or the rich? It is the rich, of course. Yet, the rich will find it difficult to enter the heavenly gates. You see, the doctrine of attachment to materiality has been taken out of context. As if it is a sin to put your mind to work and make work to liberate yourself from poverty. I know my Christians brothers will not be happy, nor will they agree with what I am teaching you today. But the records have to be set straight, and no amount of disagreement will hinder true teachings to unravel true spirituality and the emancipation of the black man. If you listen very carefully, though the servant never becomes greater than his master, you will definitely achieve something. Even if not, to what I have achieved, you will reach greatness. Now listen. In its primordial essence in nature, the soul in every man is the same. They are all of the image of God. So why must Africans accept themselves to be inferior to other races or nations? What you call a genius is the more or less continuous successful effort of the Spirit of God in that man to assert itself on the physical plane through the utilization of the brain mind. So we must accept it that all the Spirit in us wants from us is for us to believe in ourselves and accept to keep on trying and trying until we discover what we want. Because the potential God has placed in man is hidden until we focus our mind on something we want to bring into being, create or don't. Then keep on trying and trying without giving up. If you do not give up and you continue to try and try, you will one day discover or create what you have set your mind on to do. This continuous and relentless effort to discover the potential God has placed in man without giving up is what Kwadwo Safo call the can-do spirit. This can-do spirit, when put in practice, has gotten nothing to do with the science of today. You can't read it from books, nor can any school of today teach you. It is a divine process to unleash the potential God has placed in man, which when utilized without giving up, leads to the awakening of the God-given potential which supersedes the scientific knowledge of today. Such a potential, when discovered through the use of the can-do spirit, that is, your relentless effort to create something new or discover something unique, is a divine power that is above the knowledge of the world. You become a genius and develop a state of clairvoyance. This is the power God has given Kwadwo Safo, and you must all endeavor to practice this gradually without giving up. If we all understand this and put it into practice, I know we will all discover our potential and become geniuses who can change the future of Ghana and Africa at large. All you need to do is to discipline yourself and position yourselves well in purity and keep on trying and trying to find answers step by step, focusing your brain to imagination on what you want to create or discover. Then you start practicing everything you imagine, and the Spirit of God in you will guide your imagination while you practice them daily. As you continue your imagination and meditation, trying and trying every day, the potential will be unleashed and revealing new ideas to add up to your previous imagination, which you have practiced. And presto, one day, you will discover what you envisioned to create. It is like a precious stone hidden in the earth crust. You have to dig and dig. That is, try and try. by continuous imagination and continuous practices until you find that precious stone. The wonderful thing is, the spirit in you, the potential, will guide you as soon as you begin the journey to discover and create. It is neither read in school. Our schools can't teach it. It is a divine journey which pride of academics and science cannot conquer. It is achieved with humility and absolute acceptance of yourself as a child who knows nothing and would want to know, create, or discover something from within. Thus, from the divine potential that God has placed in you. This is why Christ said, in order to enter the kingdom of God, you must be as a child who knows nothing and seeks to find or discover a divine science that is above all sciences. A potential that has already been placed in you. It is inside you, latently waiting for you to dig and dig to uncover. Try to discover, keeping in mind as a child who is seeking to find the kingdom. And as Christ said, do not believe that the kingdom of God comes from the east or here, the west or there. For the kingdom of God is within you, and it is in you. And you have Kwadwo Safo with you. Why must you fear? My mission is to show you the way, because I am the comforter who leads you into all truth and guide you to discover the potential in you. It is not about what you know. Neither it is about your academic qualifications. It is an absolute decision to pursue a divine science that is conquered by humility, not pride and mere words, but rather a humble, continuous imagination and practice of what you imagine, seeking to know more as a child who knows nothing. I, Kwadwo Safo, stand at the door of your heart, because whatever potential is in you, I, Kwadwo Safo, know. I am the comforter who you need. I am knocking. Open your heart and your mind. Listen, think, imagine, and practice. Continue trying and trying. Never give up on what you want to create, build, or discover, and you will surely find it. And trust me, together we shall build Africa. As you live today, never forget there is a divine principle God has placed in you. So never forget to dream and imagine, and never forget to practice what you imagine. It is the God in you speaking. Listen, meditate, and guide it, and the precious stone in you will be discovered. I bring you a divine science and a divine wisdom and knowledge that is above all the knowledge you seek in schools and reading books. Never accept that poverty will take you to heaven.